So, hello, this is Destructore. I'm here to talk about the fiasco that was the recent HomeWorld match for me. Now, this is a highlights and what lessons can I learn from this video. The full uncut version with the original audio is available on my YouTube channel. It is an hour and 20 minutes long though, hence this highlight video. So I started off the match pretty well. I immediately started working on producing, resourcing, and aiming to get ahead in the resource war, as you should always try and do in RTS, especially Homeworld. So I basically go through and then I start building a mobile refinery to set up a third location, so one around my mothership, one around my carrier, and one around the mobile refinery. And I basically was using my mothership to produce resource collectors. They were taking the longest to build due to the vast number of them. And the mothership is faster at building their carrier. The carrier, since it was going towards the front lines, I ended up building scout squadrons to detect it early on, which was a smart idea, especially given that the scouts have a good use late game in terms of their EMP and sensors, as I made use later. However, while this part's going well, I do make some minor mistakes later on which compound up to really big ones, as you'll see in a minute. Well, in a bit. So yeah, I have my resourcing set up well, and I've got a strong start to this match. I have 3 resourcing locations, I have a small number of fighters to act as a guard, and I have control over my side of the map. The most important locations, namely being the main shot through to the mothership. So yeah. And of course the carrier start producing bombers to act as defence against an early frigate rush. Not much risk there really though. The entire match was one major letdown. All my plans for holding it there really never came to anything. So here I go capturing the relic that's spawned in. Relics are great because they provide a steady supply of income to a fleet which captures it, and generally I think the average trend is that over a match they'll produce more and more, so capturing it early can give you a really big boost. So yeah, that's another smart move on my behalf. Building up my resource base and trying to build my force. I don't focus heavily on fighters because I know that as the Vega, Destructore will seriously outclass me in terms of fighters, so my plan is to go for back counter ships and smash his production so we can't bring more in. And now here comes my biggest mistake. In the idea of having a fair match, I consider scrapping the relic, and I do, which is like the ultimate sin in RTSs, as I am destroying a resource source. So if I kept that, maybe I could have. It would have dealt with the later resource issues I had once Destructore started destroying my resourcing operations. So yeah, as you can see, I have now got to keeping on working on my fighter guard building interceptors to deal with any bomber strikes that come through the wall. And I also have a shipyard queued, which triggers the next major part of this, so I'll come back once that is complete. So I know about the shipyard, I'm coming back now, as this is the point where I said it's time for some early reconnaissance of Destructore's base. And this, again, smart idea on my behalf. Knowing where his power bases were is the key to winning. However, it's yet another case where, at the end, I make small mistakes which compound onto each other. Here I'm destroying I am sending into to destroy the probes that have come through the wall to keep him unaware of what I'm doing. Later in the match, I forget to do this, so he gets a nice clear shot at all my work, and I have no idea where his units are. In the end, I'm spending thousands of resources each second just to see what's going on with him. And it's just because I forget to keep sending probes through. A 70 resource unit versus 1,000 resources to use the Scout's advanced sensors. And here's the shipyard. And I immediately jump it away. Like this. I immediately send it through hyperspace to another resource spot. Smart idea. More resourcing spots, more resources coming in. Bad idea. It's by itself. It is a highly valuable unit stuck out by itself with no defences. And it can't defend itself. Well done me, you just took a very valuable unit all by itself. In a prime spot where no units can get to save it, and if the enemy uses a hyperspace interdictor, I can't even jump the carrier and its fighter support round to support it. So I have literally just screwed this shipyard right from the off. Also, it means that my forces are now spread out. If I'd stuck the shipyard behind the mothership, then they would have been less spread out, and they'd be able to support each other. Now, the shipyard, any forces going to protect the shipyard, or any forces coming from the shipyard to protect anything else, have to jump through hyperspace to get saved. And again, if there's a hyperspace interdictor attacking what needs defending, those forces cannot get through. Also, to add on to my list of sins against RTSs, another relic has spawned, and I'm not going to capture it again in the idea of a fair match. So, once again, genius idea me. Well done. Top class. But as we go on, I start producing resource collectors for this fourth resourcing location. So once again, boost up my resourcing. And I've also got a battle cruiser queued for construction. So I am starting to really build up my power base now. I am aiming to just try and outproduce Destructore with large ships that can just... battleships are heavy anti-capital. They excel against other capital ships. Frigates, not so much, still very good against them, but it's mainly motherships, carriers and shipyards, along with destroyers and battlecruisers, they excel against. And I send these things up against laser corvettes and bombers. Fighters and corvettes, thing that the battlecruiser is not good against, and the two of them are both anti-capital ship. So I'm sending a unit that is weak against other units, against targets that are strong against it. Which, just now thinking back, is how the hell did I make that amateur mistake. Also, I screw up the deployment of sensor distortion probes. I have to send a second one. Not so bad, I get to keep the first one as an idea of where he's not at the end, which is right at the rear of his forces. So, which is why originally later on I planned to jump round and come in from behind. Great if I could send superior force through, but I don't. I send one battle cruiser and it gets pulled out by a shipyard. No, I drop it out earlier to try and re-aim my travel round there, and I end up attacking a shipyard, which kind of blows that entire thing. So once again, I am getting a good look at his forces again, and immediately this should be an alarm bell for me. He's not rushing capitals, he's rushing fighters. I am going to have a fighter swarm problem on my hands soon if I do not prepare. Do I? No. Also, what else I should be worried about is that I've completely forgotten to use platforms. I mentioned I was going to use these right at the start of the match, and I completely forgot to use them. Platforms are very useful at providing static defense that you cannot pull up and move. Now that sounds a bit dumb. Why do you want something that doesn't move? Well, it stops you, like me, moving the entire thing away on an attack. So it basically means you always have a fixed number of defences. And I swear I destroyed that probe earlier, but I must not have. So, once again, I have made an intelligence mess up. But here we have my first battlecruiser, and I equip it in my customary way of guerrilla war, which is hyperspace drive and cloak, which is normally a brilliant method. I can cloak, jump right into the heart of his formation, uncloak at my leisure, and wreck a shipyard. Unfortunately, as I later find out, Destructore's already planned around it. He has hyperspace inhibitors and large amounts of bombers and laser corvettes, which, as already mentioned, are extremely effective against battlecruisers. So, while while I am prepared, it really doesn't work out for me. And once again, stopping probes. So, I'm going to come back once the battlecruiser goes off to perform. Well, no, I won't, as the battlecruiser is about to go off to perform its first guerrilla operation. And the shipyard has just finished production of a destroyer, which are, actually, anti-frigate capitals. And as you can see, I've cloaked battlecruiser, and I've hyperspaced it to where its operation is going to be. However, hyperspace interdictors, and this is where I am going to lodge a complaint though, is I'm pulled out and I can't even see the ship that's pulled me out. The battlecruiser cannot see the ship that's pulled him out. And now here I go for taunting Destructore. I'm a really nice friend, aren't I? So not only am I going, oh I'm so booked, I think I am about to get my backside completely messed up. So here I go, thinking his platforms, it's fine, and he's not got that many. He's got mostly scouts. He's not got that many bombers. I know that most of the things he had were actually interceptors, and he's working on producing more bombers and lance fighters. Also, to add to my list of messes, what did I do? I didn't load the battlecruiser up with fighters before I moved it out. So this battlecruiser is going up against a fighter swarm without its own fighters to protect it, and you can just watch it get pounded by fighters. Like it's being pounded by bombers, missile corvettes, and laser corvettes. No wonder it's already down to less than half health. I even considered jumping in flak frigates to provide last minute support. Even destroyed the carrier holding the battlecruiser in place to try and jump out, and does no good. The battlecruiser is lost. So I've lost a 4,000 credit unit for one of its carriers, which the Vega carriers are considerably cheaper than Higara ones, and thus considerably cheaper than a battlecruiser. So I have royally messed up here. Most I've done is just limited production capabilities for a bit, and I've lost a major unit. I've also dropped my hand and shown that I have battlecruisers, but that just makes it so that he now knows to focus entirely on anti-capital corvettes and fighters. So that was a real mess up for me. So I'm going to come back once I think Shipyard TV starts. So I'm back with what can be described as Shipyard TV Part 1 of this match. Shipyard TV is basically me and Destructore finding each of the shipyards and deciding that we wanted to kill them. So I led the start with this, naturally with the battlecruiser, because battlecruisers are much better. Now, here comes the real mess I made. Because I'm equipping the shipyard, running this battlecruiser with a house on a cloak, again for guerrilla strikes. Now, if I'd kept the battlecruiser at my own shipyard and equipped it with and then jumped it once it built a house inhibitor, I could have dealt a major blow to Destructor. I could have destroyed his own shipyard before, well, he had a chance to build his own battlecruisers. Instead, it jumped out, I missed it, and he got the chance to, well, build his own battlecruisers. I'm sorry for the loud bangs in the back of the video. Someone decided this fireworks night a day early. So yeah. So once again, I see masses of defences. This time, I am no longer being quite so stupid. I am running out of there now. I have the battlecruiser still in the cloak, because that way he doesn't know it's there, so I can get it out of the high-vis inhibitor range before he strikes it. And once it's made its way out, I can then jump it back to safety. Also, I've now realised my massive mess up, and I'm starting to work on fighters. Unfortunately, I don't focus on that enough. And as you can see, the battlecruiser is now jumping back to safety. And now, what if I... Shipyard TV. needs to decide now he's going to strike my remote resourcing. This is why if I'd still had the relic, this wouldn't be quite so bad, but he's destroyed the mobile refinery. So, while 3, I believe, resource collectors survive his attack, they have to go so far to drop off their resources now. They are may as well none of them survived. And the stupid thing I do is I don't even bother replacing them. But you know, we have some beauty shots, and you can just see the giant dent in that Massacruiser's armor from here, which is one of the reasons why I really like HomeWorld. But as for my own stupidity, I don't even bother replacing the mobile refinery and the resource collectors I lost. I just leave it. No wonder I end up so tight for resources at the end. I even have those fighters still out there doing nothing. So, once again, it's another case of me being stupid and not having the right things for the right task. Destructore at this point has figured out that I am trying to try and run rings around in the entire match, and he's adapted now. Meanwhile, I am still just trying to make fun strikes and go, oh, it's going to be easy, and I am just so losing. So I'll be back once again with another highlight. So I'm back, and well, this is the point where I decided I'm the smart at my act. I'm going to go for fighters. I am going to try and meet him on equal footing. This kind of goes horribly wrong at the first hurdle, as immediately my small task force of a single battlecruiser and destroyers is immediately set upon by 2 battlecruisers, which isn't fair. I've already got a numerical loss going on, and the battlecruiser dies instantly, but not before evening the bringing down a single battlecruiser. So, however, soon the errors of my ways are shown again, as 4 destroyers are jumped in by Destructore, and I have to send 2 more battlecruisers in to heal it. So at this point, I sent a carrier, 3 battlecruisers, and 2 destroyers into fight. Destructore sent 2 battlecruisers and 4 destroyers into fight, along with a whole host of fighters. We both sent fighters. He sent more, which is why he wins the fighter battle. I then set about destroying his 4 destroyers. I'm also going to do the 2 destroyers I've sent in, and I've also lost the carrier. So I've lost a large amount of fighters, corvettes, and capital ships, and he's lost 4 destroyers and 2 battlecruisers. And I know I haven't lost the battlecruisers yet, but I'm going to send them further into his formation and try and meet him, which just doesn't work. And as a result of this is why I said platforms is you cannot move them. As a result of me moving the 2 battlecruisers away, which is exactly what Destructore wanted, he's now got a straight shot to my shipyard with his sole remaining battlecruiser. So now I go into hyperdrive. I am not going to use my shipyard. So I've got a brand new battlecruiser, just recently completed off the shipyard's production line, and I have all the resource collectors set to heal the shipyard. And now, as this is going on, the other battlecruisers are currently getting absolutely trashed. So I have just made a tactical blunder of the year, and now that the battlecruiser seems to be the target, I've ordered the resource collector to repair that, and it barely limps through. This becomes my shipyard defense battlecruiser, as it just barely survives. And I realise why he could get his battlecruiser so close in a minute. The shipyard doesn't have an hyperspace inhibitor. The thing that's vital to defense of things, I don't have. And then I decide I'm going to send this sole remaining battlecruiser instead of home, instead of heading away on conventional drive. I decided I'm going to send it further in an attack, and this is where the fighter swarm gets it, as you can see, just converging on the battlecruiser. So in one blunder, I've lost 3 battlecruisers, 2 destroyers, a carrier and a small number of fighters. And I figured, if I strike his flagship now, I could end this. And he sends in another carrier, acts as... well, no, he's putting more fighters, adding further to my doom, as it was. So, yet another blunder from me. I think I'll cut to the part where it all goes horribly wrong next. So I am back at the point where it all went horribly wrong. And before I continue describing this, I'm just going to show you what happens when you speed up footage by 200%, or up to 200%. So basically, Destructore has just launched a 4 battle cruiser assault on my shipyard. That thing is now dead. Deader than a doorknob. Oops. It's hard to say. And this is the same 4 battle cruiser forts he uses later on my mothership as well. And the first thing he does is ignores the shipyard and goes to the 2 battle cruisers I have defending it. I've jumped 2 carriers over there to deploy fighters and corvettes to support it, but it is gone. That's a foregone conclusion. Now I'll cut to the mothership being destroyed, and again it is just... I was completely outclassed in this match. There's no way around it. I have no idea what I was doing, but I was completely outmatched. So this is the moment when the mothership is destroyed. I've built a new shipyard, but that's a long way off of building new battle cruisers to save my fleet. And the mothership can't even jump due to hyperspace inhibitors. It's a mess, and aside, Destructore's taking battle cruisers to my mothership. I'm going to take a battle cruiser to his flagship. Forget about one thing though. Hyperspace inhibitors. So the battle cruiser, or muscular battleship, drops out well short of its target. And I decide I need a minefield to protect this last carrier. The shipyard is now capable of producing battle cruisers, but it's too late. Mothership destroyed. And it's about not long after this I decide to surrender the match, as well, no more meaningful combat occurs after this. And I've lost. I have 1 battle cruiser. My main force right now is bombers. It's not enough to hold them. So, like, last ditch attempt just to even the odds, it just goes horribly wrong. I even move across the frigates to help, and it doesn't do out. It really doesn't do out. And I have this 1 battle cruiser. Oh, there. He's left that 1 battle cruiser there for me just to get some satisfaction out of destroying with bombers. The other 3 have moved. The other 2 has destroyed 1 already. The other 2 have moved over to attack the shipyard and the carrier. And it ends this episode, I guess. And I'll end with a slow motion of another shipyard going boom. So this is phased out.